sometimes it's just like that. Sometimes, man, it can get really, really lonely out here just because you don't have the same things that you would normally have in a regular job. See, we all are used to being able to go to work, and we have coworkers. We got people that we talk to when we get there, you know, that you gossip about what happened with at the job, that you gossip with, that tells you all of the different happenings about every other person in the job. Like, oh, so and so just had a baby. Oh, so and so is getting ready to is going out with so and so. Oh, so and so had a fight with so and so. Oh, you know, the boss did this, the boss did that. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. We all got coworkers. We all miss our coworkers. When you start doing this, it's like you don't really have that anymore. You're just kind of out here on your own. I mean, sure, you could talk to your passengers. Sure, you could talk to, you know, you basically having conversations with your passengers all day long, but your passengers are strangers. There's no real familiarity. Most of the time, you're not going to get the same passenger multiple times. Like, in my case, I've maybe had the same passenger maybe a couple. Like, overall, you just don't get the same passenger. So it's like you're talking to strangers all day. And I mean, yeah, you know, sometimes you'll have good conversations, but most of them don't really want to talk. They just want to get to where they want to get to, or they don't necessarily want to talk to you. They might be on the phone, or they're texting, or whatever. So it's not a lot of, you're not really having a ton of communication during the day. You're just kind of working on your own, you know. There's no central location that you're going to, except for if you come to the airport. Yeah. And at night, where everybody just kind of congregates, because it's like, yeah, you know, that's the only real, I guess, central location. But outside of the airport, it's just you know. You're just driving around all day, picking up people, dropping them off. You're making your money, and then you go home to your family. But obviously you're driving, so it's a little bit hard to have conversations and stuff, like being on the phone. I mean, I know some of y'all do it. Then, you know, yeah. And then it's like, okay, so who do you talk to that would actually understand? Because if you try to talk to your significant other about your day, you get different results. Some of them are like, sometimes they'll be super worried, like, oh, you almost got into an accident. Oh, you had these problem customers. Why do you keep doing this? Or you might get the other response, which is like the super worried response, like, oh, you know, I'm just worried about you based on what you're telling me, you know. Like, yeah, you get different responses from other people because they don't do what we do. You don't have that commonality like that you would when you go to an office place and you got coworkers. The coworkers here are other drivers, and yeah, you really don't talk to other drivers for the most part. Yeah, I mean, unless you got like their phone number, unless you like kind of run into them in the place to place and you recognize, oh, that's so and so, then it's like, yeah, now you could talk to each other. Now you could have that conversation. But for the most part, you don't really talk to each other. And so, yeah, this can be a really, really, really lonely job. It can be a really lonely gig just because you're by yourself most of the time. Because as an Uber driver, there's nobody, you can't have anybody else sitting in the car where you're not supposed to. It's against the terms. I mean, obviously people do it, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. You're just kind of going all day long or all night long trying to grind. So it can get really lonely. So the point of this video is that in order not to burn out, because it can be tough doing that day in, day out, not really talking to people. It can get really tough, really tough. And a lot of drivers burn out. A lot of people really burn out. I'm going to be honest. I know that's what happened with me when I first started, because it was just like, it's so weird. Like, when you go to a job, obviously you have the coworkers, you're talking to people, obviously you're dealing with, but there's so many different people that you're interacting with when you're going to your job. You know, say, you know, you're going to your job, you know, maybe you got a security checkpoint, so you're dealing with the security guards that obviously would know you the more, because it's your job, you're constantly coming there. Then you're dealing with the front desk person, people. Then you're dealing with your coworkers. Then you're dealing with your managers. You might be dealing with your boss's boss. And then you're dealing with other coworkers, you know, from different sections. So it's a lot of people that you come into contact with, you know, in your daily activities. You know, you're also dealing with the janitors, the maintenance people. Sometimes, you know, it's a lot of different people that you could be dealing with. As opposed to when you get to doing this, it's like you're only really talking to yourself and the people that you know, which, you know, is a small bit, you know, because it's just nobody else really understands. A lot of people just don't. It's just, if you're not a driver, it's hard to talk about driving, because it's just not the same, you know. So the way that you avoid burnout is getting in the community. So a couple videos ago, I shouted out the community that we're trying to build in the Telegram group. You know, so I'll shout it out again. So shout out to all of the men and women in there. We're trying to build a community of drivers that's local to our area, but drivers in general, so that you have a place that you could talk to people about. So what's been happening is a lot of people have been coming in just to get advice. Hey, you know, what's the best schedule? Hey, what's the best times that we should work? Hey, what do you guys think about working this area? What about that area? What vehicle do you think is the best? And it's not just me. Most of the time, it's actually not me that's responding, just because, you know, I'm working and all of that stuff. I don't always pay attention. So you got other inputs there. And these guys and girls, they all come from different backgrounds. So, you know, you got people that are making different types of money, but we all have similar experiences. We all have similar advice, in a sense of, like, you know, when you've been at this for a while, you kind of understand what to do and what not to do. That's the general, you know. So for a newbie, it's like, nah, you know, you got a place where you could just kind of come and actually talk to real people, like get real advice, you know. But as a vet, you can also join, and now we can share strategies. Now we can pick up different points. Like today, we were kind of going over each of a different strategy of how different people work, and it was pretty cool, you know, because it's interesting. It's interesting. It just opens you up to possibilities. Not to say that, you know, if you come in, you see, you know, one of the guys' strategy, you're gonna change your whole thing and you're never gonna do what you do. That's not how it's supposed to be. But what it is to say is that you come in, you know, share strategies, we talk, we figure out like the most efficient way to do things. You might pick pieces from everybody, and then you incorporate it in your strategy, and now, you know, a $200, $300, $400 day isn't as crazy as it once was, because now you're versatile. you're multifaceted. You don't just work one way. Now you work multiple ways. Maybe it's that you never did Uber Eats before, but now because you talk to so and so kind of helps you see like what to take and what not to take. You try it, you learn, you learn your way of doing it, and now Uber Eats is a thing that you do just to help you get to your goal. Or maybe it's that you don't really know where to go in terms of working the market, and you talk to so and so is like, hey, I work over here, I work over there. Now you go try those areas, and it's like, oh, okay, I can get a couple rides out of here, and now you incorporate it into your strategy. That's the whole point. You don't with this Uber thing, being a driver, you gotta constantly adapt. It just is what it is, because we know that Uber and Lyft are going to constantly change what they're doing. So as drivers, as people trying to make the most out of the situation, you obviously got to do the same thing. You got to constantly adapt. Like I told you guys, my strategy used to be, I wake up 2:30, I used to get up 2 o'clock, work the clubs early in the morning, and by 5-6 o'clock, I'm at 100, 150, 200. That's not the case anymore, but that's what it used to be. So now you kind of got to adjust. You got to adjust and adapt, figure out a new way. And ultimately, that camaraderie, the camaraderie, whatever. Ultimately, that's what it's about, Being able to talk to people that understand, people that get it, that's hustling just like you. It's super motivating, It's motivating when it's like, yo, I've been out here all day. It's like, oh, word, I've been out here all day too, Like, not to say that misery loves company, but it's like, okay, there's multiple times where I'll be like, you know what? I'm going in. It's time for me to go to sleep. It's time for me to go get something to eat. And I look in the Telegram group, and so would be like, yo, I'm at 200, and it's like, damn, I'm only at 150. Well, let me see if I can get another ride so I can get close to so and so. It helps. It helps. So I kind of rambled. Kind of did a little bit of talking, but I hope you get the point, man. You should find a group. You should join a community. If you don't have one, hit the link in the description. The Telegram group. The app is Telegram. You hit the link in the description. After you've downloaded Telegram, it will take you to our group. Now, please don't be trying to scam us. Don't be posting links and all of that stuff. You will be removed, obviously. But the group is just, hey, listen, we just real drivers trying to make it happen. So if that's what you are, come join the group, and don't just sit like a fly on the wall. Join the group and talk in the group, because you get out of it what you put into it. So if you don't talk, if you don't say anything, then you won't get much out of the group. It's kind of pointless to join it at that point. Like, we're not here for your entertainment. We're working. We're trying to figure out ways to do things better. I mean, but yeah, with that being said, man, I am out of here. As you can see, I'm a little tired. This has been a long day. I've been through a lot today, so I'm out of here. If you need anything, you guys know. Hit the Telegram group. Leave a comment. But yeah, with that being said, I'm out of here. Deuces.